trucks are droids.
Hadouken!
Dima, we want to finish the game. Dima, we want to finish the game.
Healthful, wholesome, family environment.
No disintegration.
This is the Red Six Podcast. Hey, everybody, get on your feet. If you're in your car, stay in your seat. It's the Red Six Podcast. I copyrighted that, by the way. FYI, this is the Red Six Podcast. Hey, everybody, how you all doing? This is Nick, and with us tonight, these friends I formed in life are shackles in hell. That's not right. I said that wrong. That's fine. From the water-sized state of Texas, I'm rolling with it. Hot tub streamer, it's Steve-O.
Hey, it's good to see you guys again.
You can't clap for yourself.
My hot tub.
can't start
Yes,
it.
I can. I'm from Texas, and we clap for ourselves no matter
all
what.
the time.
No matter what.
No, just keep clapping.
Yeah.
Just keep clapping, boys.
My hot tub is a foot bath, and I just put my feeps in the bath, and you don't even see it on stream, but you can still call me a hot tub streamer.
Yeah, oh my gosh, I'm on for this. You just literally got like a massive uptick in subscribers.
Jesus.
Yeah. Also with us, not Jesus. Also with us from the water-sized. Oh no, and residing in. Oh, this is a rough start, gentlemen. But I'm rolling with it.
We got him. I fucking got him. And not the way I thought I was going to get him, but I fucking got him.
And residing in the future ghost town of Jones, Oklahoma. Human, anthropomorphic, perineum, it's Caleb Haldane! Now, does human and anthropomorphic seem redundant in this situation?
You did mess it up in a way we thought you wouldn't.
It was a big word. How? You're done with me? You're done with me? How many fucking syllables was in that? That was like 15 syllables.
It's true.
I should get an award for that.
Oh, yeah. You and all the other third graders out there who can pronounce that word.
And on their behalf, I accept this award. And we
the
also have a
award-
question.
The award for longest word spoken on a Red Six podcast goes to Nick.
Yeah, no one ever thought it was going to come from me. No one ever thought it was going to come from me. They're like, he says sandwich and struggles.
I got to point out also, like, I specifically chose the shirt that I'm wearing. If you guys are listening, I'm wearing a blue shirt, and Caleb is wearing a blue shirt. And I thought to myself, there was kind of an embarrassing day where Caleb and I wore like the same shirt. And I was like, I'm going to wear a blue shirt. I said, I've never seen Caleb wear a blue shirt before. And fuck you, Caleb.
I thought literally you guys like got together ahead of time.
No, it's happening.
Before every show.
Every show.
I creep him out before every show.
You know, I keep telling Nerdez this webcam isn't on when but I think Caleb knows something I don't.
Oh, I just got to install some extra software on here. Don't worry about it, guys. Yeah.
Well, this device just helps you play retro games faster, I promise.
Oh, speaking of, I think I know. I figured out this week I think the first thing that the Retron 5 is going to do. So Caleb let me borrow his Retron 5, which allows me to use an HDMI out to play some old retro games, right? And one of the retro games that you can use on it is like GBA and old Game Boy games. And I can put that into my capture card because I don't like using emulators. It's just a personal choice. I don't like it. So I'm going to do in the next few months, I'm going to do a Link's Awakening on Game Boy comparison to the Link's Awakening on Switch remake.
Nice.
And so I'm just like super excited. I wanted to thank you for that because
I can't
I'm
believe it.
super
Like,
stoked.
now, what? I'm sorry. And again, what's Link's Awakening? What's so special about this one? Or is this just the fact that they have a single and a remake?
It's actually, I think, supposed to be a really good game for the Game Boy Advanced. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, so it originally came out on like Game Boy, like the 1989 Game Boy.
The brick.
It is a dream sequence. The game is a dream sequence that takes place in the middle of the second Legend of Zelda game.
Okay.
And
The third Legend of Zelda game.
the second
It's a
one.
dream sequence for Link to the Past.
No, it's a dream sequence for Link's adventure when he goes
Really?
from one continent to another on NES. Yeah, and then like
I've
he
always
gets
thought
on
it
a
was a
raft.
Link to the Past for some reason.
I
Yeah,
love
he gets
you
on a
being
raft.
wrong.
There's a scene where he gets on a raft and then arrives at the other continent, and this whole game takes place like in the middle of that like frame switch,
My God.
and then they remade it for
Amazing.
Switch, and so yeah.
All right.
There you go. Yeah, so that's coming soon. From
I didn't mean
Gutter
to like
Nerds.
take a 5-minute pitch at the beginning of the show.
It's fine.
I just like you said retro, and I reminded
No,
me
it's a
of-
great thing. Look, I'm about to talk about Murder, She Wrote. Which I'm telling you, boys. I am watching Murder, She Wrote. I think I'm watching it on, I'm not sure if it's like HBO Max or Amazon. It's a streaming service. Right. Should have thought about that ahead of time. That's fine. And it's my nighttime show before I go to bed. I normally like to watch something that's either like a lockup, something intense.
Yeah.
But we switched to Murder, She Wrote, and
I need
I'm
to know
telling you.
how. First of all, before how did you get to Murder She Wrote? How did you look at the list of things and get to Murder She Wrote?
I've always had like a thing for J.P. Fletcher. Like I used to watch as a kid. I mean, honestly. Oh, she looks good. She's cool. She solves mysteries. No, I don't know exactly how it came up again. I don't know if maybe Bed Knobs and Broomsticks came on and I was just inspired by it.
So you finished your run of Golden Girls, and you were like, I need something else in this flavor.
I've literally yes, we have finished our run of Golden Girls. You gonna fucking out me like that, bro? Huh? Now I'm gonna come at you. I'm gonna find out the shows you watch. Come at you about them. But yeah, I tell you one thing that's kind of blowing my mind about this right now is how much murder is just revolving around her, and how she is brave plus brave because she confronts these murderers like 90% of the time, bold, no fear, alone by herself in their house. They'll be breaking in, like they'll have like a knife and a gun on them or whatever, and she's like, she'll flip the light on, be sitting in the chair, be like, well, kind of getting home at a late hour, don't you think?
And she's not armed.
No. Oh, yeah. That would be fucking sweet if like 2 fucking Deadpool fucking swords came out. It's about to get real. No, she just literally every time she confronts a killer like this, they're like, well, I'm going to kill you too. And she'll go, do you really want to do that? I've already phoned the police. And they all go, yeah, you're right. I better just go to jail. I better turn myself in.
It's grandma vibes. When your grandma tells you, do you really want to do that? You're really like, oh, fuck. You know?
Yeah. I mean, grandma's so cool. Anyways, big ups, Grandma Powder Puff. Let's see you up there. Thank you so much. That's my grandma's Grandma Powder Puff.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Anyways, I don't know why they called her Powder Puff. And I think it might be a cocaine habit.
But you were surprised that a TV show, the first word in the title of the show was murder, and it had so much murder in it? Is that what I heard you say earlier?
I did. Yes. I was shocked. No, I'm just saying. Okay, look, that is the thing you have to like let go of when you're watching these murder shows. That like how many literal murders happen around these people. I did kind of get obsessed with that part, but I'm just saying they all happen. She lives in like this cabin cove, this sleepy little, I don't know, Maine town, and it's just like every week, like I don't know what happened. Sheriff comes in, Jessica, well, got another funny one this morning. Found a guy upside down in a wood chipper outside the elementary school.
And he
Oh,
seems
geez,
to know you.
Yeah. He had your book in his hand. Yeah, we pieced it together about 1,000 pieces at a time.
So the plot of the show, she's a writer, right? She writes
Yeah.
murder mysteries.
Yes. She's a murder mystery writer, absolutely.
Right.
But her murder mysteries are like Dance of the Dead in the Graveyard or whatever. They're these kind of like. The first one had a slightly erotic tinge to it. I'm just saying
They're a little pulpy.
They're a little pulpy. They absolutely are. Yeah. But yeah. So, anyways, I don't know. That's just a weird recommendation I'm throwing out there
All right.
for Murder, She Wrote. If you want to like get yourself a big old heavy blanket and lay down in bed and tuck yourself in with some hot chocolate and watch some Murder, She Wrote.
But
That's
this
easy.
isn't like scary murder. This isn't like going to bed to Law and Order SVU, right? This is a little bit tongue in cheek, or is it actually quite dark? Like in
It is
terms of
not
tone.
dark. It is
No.
not dark. It's
Okay.
light. It's light. It's you
light
can watch this with the family.
You
That's
know
why we
what?
watched it.
On the heels of A Murder, She Wrote,
Okay.
I'm going to recommend a show that the name that I don't remember, so maybe you can help me out.
I'd love to.
It was a Dick Van Dyke show of where he
That's
was
the title.
where he was
That's literally the
that's not the
title.
name of the show.
Okay.
He was a doctor and he also solved murders. And the name of the show is Diagnosis Murder because I have a computer in front of me.
I didn't even get a chance to guess.
Well,
You would never have
realized-
guessed that, though.
He's
so,
a
yeah.
doctor.
Yeah, you never guessed diagnosis
I would have.
murder.
Yeah, I probably would have guessed prognosis murder.
Yeah, that's right. If you want to pair your Angela Lansbury with some Dick Van Dyke, then find Diagnosis Murder to go with your Murder, She Wrote.
The thing is, we are crushing it with our 65 to 85 audience right now.
Yeah. Expand that demo.
The first time we get one of them to listen, they're gonna love us.
It's great. They could start the recording and just the whole time they're trying to figure out how to turn it off, but can't. So they heard the episode.
But
It can
we
happen.
got him.
It could happen. But this is great because it's going to lead in. We're going to be talking about TV shows and movies because last week, Caleb,
Right?
you kind of came at me a bit hard.
I don't feel like I came at you that hard. I just was saying.
Maybe a bit sensitive.
you came out saying that you felt Loki was really good, and I was like, yeah, I think it was good too. I still, in the pantheon, think of WandaVision as higher, and you took offense to that.
Well, okay, fair point. Yes, we're all allowed to have our opinions on that. I just felt it was like an inopportune time to tell me that you were going to rank. So like it was a good one, but it's not as good as Scarlet Witch. Slight attack in that. But no, but that leads to a bigger conversation because I'm curious then because I was such a fan of Loki. I was so blown back by it that, and Scarlet Witch I loved and I thought started great, but didn't leave me with the same feeling as Loki did. So I was going to kind of like go through some of these shows, maybe talk about them for a bit. Yeah, we'll just make it. It's a Marvel episode.
Why are we doing the Golden Arches?
The Golden. I was literally gonna ask, is that McDonald's Golden Arch? Was it sponsored?
No, it's an arch. It's McDowell's. It's
Let me ask you this though. So the show's called Loki.
Yeah.
Did you did you like or dislike the fact? I say this as fact that Loki was both the main character and also almost like in a Neil Gaiman kind of way, the passive character for like most of the series. Like he was an observer for nearly everything that happened.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think it worked because, in those kind of shows, when you're introducing a fantastical world, which is on another level in a fantastical world, you have to have your fish out of water character. So and that often is your protagonist. So it didn't bother me. Did I find it kind of funny because normally Loki is this character, it's the most sure-footed one playing the chess game, whatever, and he is along for the ride, and I'm finding myself just going, wow, Owen Wilson, wow, he's great, wow,
Yeah.
Who are these characters, wow.
It is so weird to see him so depowered, right? Like in all of, other than Infinity War, he's been typically the most powerful person on the screen.
I could see that.
And so to see him where he's just like completely neutered, like, no, you have no power here.
Yeah.
It was interesting.
Well, and then like also in the same series, you get to see him using powers stronger than we've seen him use. Like his ability to stop a falling building. He's like, I could just do that now.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the power of love.
Oh, self-love.
Yeah, self-love. The best kind of love.
That's the power of self-love.
Oh, hold on. Constant strike.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
That was way too accurate for
Way
an
too
instant.
close.
Steve-O's is fine. You can do the beat. Just don't say those words.
No, but it's kind of funny because like Loki, he gets murked like at the beginning of like Infinity War, right? And what that's supposed to do is be like, Thanos is so fucking powerful. It's just gonna snap Loki's neck. Loki's,
right.
mirages and his
Mhm.
illusions and shit. They don't do anything to Thanos doesn't give a shit, and that's how scared of Thanos you should be.
Right.
And in the
Right.
show, it's like, and now this dude with a tie and files is more powerful than Loki is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so that is a quick thing I want to bring up in talking about Loki. It does kind of take the threat that we've seen through the 47 Marvel previous movies
Yeah.
and say that was insignificant.
Right.
Did that kind of have any kind of reaction to you guys when watching it?
It felt very comic booky to me, like that. Like I do feel like we get that in comic books, right? Like we spend an entire summer event on something only to find out that there was a bigger threat all the time. Like that's a
Mhm.
normal move, and I kind of appreciate them going down that road because we're in the middle of how they design their ages, right?
Yeah.
And we don't really know what the next big global threat is going to be. So to have this nod to there is something way more powerful out there than even what we've experienced so far is kind of the way that comic books do that, and I kind of liked it.
Yeah.
I dug it because Loki had an arc, from Thor and Avengers through Ragnarok. He became a good person. And so to start back here, you can't rehash that same arc again.
Yeah.
You have to just, pull it in just off the path. And so it did work because I was saying like he's going to have to relearn how to be a good person, I guess, right? And
Right.
He does.
Well, so that's an interesting thing, though, is I hadn't even considered that idea that really this character's arc has already played out.
Yeah.
We're going like, oh, is he going to turn to a good guy? But like technically he kind of already
He
did
did, yeah.
in the movies.
Yeah.
So, okay. But we got to do it again for our new version of Loki so we can bring him back in. Which does seem to be a bit of all these series doing right now. It's taking these characters, modifying so that they fit for a future purpose.
Right.
But Loki...
and
interesting.
do we know exactly where this is supposed to fit in timeline wise for the MCU?
Well, so it's kind of gets a little wibbly wobbly because he is taken out of the past that the Avengers traveled
first
to.
movie, right?
Right. Well, no, from the first movie.
Yeah.
So that's how wibbly wobbly it got.
2010.
Yeah,
Was
that's
that
it.
2010
Yeah,
was when
100% the year.
I don't know. I think 2010 was the Battle of New York was like
Yeah.
in
Oh
2010
my
or something,
God.
right?
Never
And
forget.
And so-
How'd we forget? 2010. Look. Anyway, sorry, boys.
So like you derailed my entire thought process with that one. Nick. That was good.
Yeah, it's fine. So,
I think though that they because of the time variance authority, right? Is that to me the way that I read it was they plucked him from this timeline, but I think they have an understanding of what happens with Thanos and everything. So I think you can put this after that and it be fun.
So yeah,
I guess ultimately it doesn't really matter.
I think that's the thing, right? Like, I think even if you consider the Loki that we watched in the movies to be our Loki, in the Loki we were watching in the series to be a completely different Loki, I think at the point when our Loki is gone and this new Loki could step in, they're going to be basically the same part of their hero's journey. So it just slots in super easy.
And do they return him to that moment in time?
Well, I think that everything's going... Oh, wait, I'm sorry. When you're saying...
I'm saying
after
Loki's storyline ends, this TV show, does he get returned to that moment in time in the Avengers?
I'm thinking that this is just going to be a whole... Like, it's going to be a whole new...
This is a new
soup
branch
altogether. Oh, not even branch. A new main line, right?
Okay.
Because everything we've known, like, whatever, I think is going to start having bleeding into each other and interplay that, they could bring him in at that point after he died in the MCU movies, but it's not necessary. He could really come in at any point because it's just going to be
There's
goulash.
no like there was a timeline from Iron Man to Spider-Man Far From Home, and through Falcon and Winter Soldier, and then now there's anything you want to do ever at any time for whatever reason. Yeah,
it's viable. I mean, it's interesting. But it's also anytime time travel gets in, we
Yeah.
thought we were going to be so clean with that in-game movie and everything because they were like,
Yeah.
okay, here's how you
Yeah,
return the
we've done it.
stones, everything's fine.
Put
Right.
back together.
Yeah, and now they're
They
going,
really did step out of their way to put everything back together
yeah,
and then blow it open again.
yeah. They were like,
Yeah.
we could just fucking go with it, right? I think it's those contracts started coming up, and they're going, maybe there's no Captain America anymore, and no Iron Man, and yeah, they're just like, we could hire new people for
It was
less.
For me, it was kind of funny because like Loki's purpose, right? So each of these series has had a purpose, right?
Yeah,
WandaVision's purpose was to create like the full-on Scarlet Witch and New Vision. Falcon Winter Soldier's purpose was to solidify the new Captain America.
right.
And this was to open the multiverse. Like Loki's story is about Loki, but it's really just about opening the multiverse door.
Yeah,
And so I watched Far From Home just like a few days ago, like last week, Spider-Man Far From Home.
right.
And it's funny watching that after this because the way that they marketed that film was like, oh, are we going to open the multiverse? Are we going to we might, Mysterio and other Spider-Man, and then they're like, no, it's just all fucking fake. Like, you know what I mean? And so it's funny watching that and then being like, Spider-Man's like, oh my God, there's a multiverse, and then a few minutes later, it's like, not really.
Yeah,
But then they did
But
go.
JK,
They end up,
there
they saved it
is.
for Hiddleston. Yeah.
right. I mean, it is like really, really going to be interesting to see where everything shakes out at the end of this because they're setting up so many players, but is this going to be one where you're going to just continue on and have our Avengers, new Avengers? There's talks about young Avengers, but focusing back with the Loki side of it, gonna go into spoilers for the series itself, and we're just going to kind of do these over Loki, Falcon, and WandaVision as well.
Yeah.
It's just at this point, it just makes it easier to kind of put that mark in here.
Right.
I was really blown away with Loki. What'd you guys think of the Immortus part of that? Because I think for me, that was one of the major takeaways. Happened to be at the end. Does make it easy in that way.
Yeah.
But that switch with Immortus, like being this kind of charismatic, fun villain at the end versus like a dreadful threat, big fighty bad guy.
I had no problems with the behaviors and like the template we used for the character.
Yeah.
The only thing I wished is it was something more than made up.
Okay.
Maybe it was Mephisto. Maybe like there was so many things that we thought we were going to get slotted in at the end. Some reveal of some character from Marvel's backlog. And if this is a character from Marvel's backlog, nobody knows who he is. He's just a boring character.
He might be a boring character, but I think he's established.
Well, I think
go ahead.
The point, I think the stuff that, again, this is not from the show. This is stuff that's discussion after the show, right? And so this doesn't necessarily mean shit, but the general consensus, consensus that I've seen is that it's Kang the Conqueror,
Right.
which is an established character that did this type of thing in terms of like the multiverse war and stuff like that. Like
Right.
that seems
So-
to track with that character.
Well, this Immortus is very much the Adam Warlock. Well, I mean, that's generous. That's extremely generous. But we'll just say like the Adam Warlock to the negative version of him. Magus, right? So like Kang would be this Magus version of the Immortus that we're going to see. So what all this kind of like charismatic, kind, fun, like not aggressive, not conquering, whatever. That's what's exciting to me, is thinking that this version of Kang we're going to see should be like the polar opposite of that. And what does that look like when you have this person that's capable of being so, I don't know, charismatic? And then what's the dark version of that? Yeah. Anyways, I don't know. That really struck me.
I feel like I think it depends. Like if the point of Loki was to solidify and introduce the next established villain or the next existential threat, as opposed to mention it, then I think it did a piss poor job of it. But I don't think that's what the show was doing. I think the focus of the show was really this timeline multiverse thing. And so it's Loki's internal, which is also external, which is internal battle with
Yeah.
himself
Yeah.
and or themself and
Right.
opening up all of the doors of the Marvel. And also I think I a little bit in a way was just like Disney's like, we bought fucking literally everything, so
Yeah.
watch us use an entire show to show you that we can put anything we want. We could put Winnie
Yeah.
the fucking Pooh into
Yeah.
MCU and it's a multiverse. Like it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah, exactly. Like, it is the most interesting, like, concept of going. But here's okay. Let's frame it a little bit. Do you think they're going to use this opportunity to go buck wild? Or are they going to creep their
Oh.
buck wild? Like, is this? Do we see them
That's-
like slow rolling stuff out, or do
But
you
that's
think
what
they're just
if,
going to go
isn't it?
for it? I
Mm,
guess
maybe.
I guess. Yeah.
I think What If is opening us up to the possibilities of like what the multiverse can mean, but they're
Mhm.
ultimately going to be throwaway episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I do think like as Endgame did for that age,
Yeah.
I think we'll get kind of a bonkers end to this age.
Yeah.
But I do think we're going to creep towards it. I don't think we're going to
Yeah.
race towards.
It's be another 10-year arc.
Yeah, I think
Wow.
it could be. Yeah.
Now, do you see that they start replacing? Like, how do you have, an Avengers? Do you see them going that route where they have like a big team group they're going towards? And is this multiverse play into that?
I think
Because that's the thing is like it's when it changes what we've seen, like the stories that we've seen and the timeline we've seen going.
Yeah.
That's when I'm curious whether or not how soon that happens.
I think just from a straight storytelling perspective, they
Yeah.
can't go too far back past Endgame.
Yeah.
I think everything forward will take those elements, like Anthony Mackie is Captain America,
yeah.
go on, so on and so forth. They're not going to they're not going
Right.
to go through Falcon Winter Soldier to bring
Yeah.
fucking Chris Evans back, right?
Right. Yeah.
But-
yeah.
But I think that we might see at times maybe a Chris Evans stepping in as Steve Rogers in some form or fashion,
Mhm.
because all these doors are open. Like they can bring whatever element in. They could have a couple of different
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Basically, they can Days of Future past the us
Yes.
now. Yeah.
Yes.
Ah.
I see that, but like the push is definitely going to be towards recasting because it's going to be a whole lot cheaper for the studios, right? Like,
Yeah.
they don't want to maintain these Robert Downey Jr. contracts.
Yeah.
Like at this point, they accomplished what they needed to, and they are in a desperate need to recast the entire MCU, and this
Yeah.
gives them that option.
But they also don't do they don't throw away a lot in the MCU and I've got some gripes with it, but they really use the whole animal, right?
Sure.
Like,
Sure.
even in Far From Home, they were like, do you remember this throwaway fucking moment from Iron Man 2? It's
wow.
actually, or whatever,
Yeah.
Here's a character from Iron Man 1 that fucking Jedediah, I can't remember his name.
Gotcha.
The villain from the
Jebediah
first
Springfield. Yeah.
Jebediah Springfield. Remember when he
Absolutely.
yelled at this scientist? This scientist is in this film. Like, so I feel like the what if stories, in terms of like the multiverse, I don't think they're gonna be thrown away. I think that you won't have to have watched them, but if you have, you'll be like, oh, that's that character that they lightly introduced in What If. Like they'll
Right.
bring that into a multiversal kind of way.
Now, is this a thing though? Like, is this the toothpaste out of the bottle though? Because does it make it too big? Do you have this situation where you can start, even with the time travel side, when you can start time traveling and when you start having multiverse, do your stories kind of, I don't know,
Well,
lack?
Comics suffer from the same thing, right?
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
I feel they're going to get a pass on this because it's like, yep, source material, fuckers.
Oh, yeah.
Like they get to do that, and they get to pick the best storylines. There are times when Marvel has tried this and failed.
Yeah.
They just don't have to redo those, right? Like we can just avoid the pitfalls because they've laid out what was successful and what wasn't.
So I agree with Caleb. And then there's the other side of it, just from the fan perspective, that there is a little bit of Disney can do no wrong when it comes to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They get a really wide pass by just the fans because they're just really and I don't really mind it so much, but really they can sort of do whatever, and people are probably going to stick up for them. but I think that because in series and in movies, you do have to edit and trim. And are they going to fumble it at times? Absolutely.
Sure.
But I think that when when you're doing comics or an ongoing TV series, you play around with things, it gets a little messy, maybe you try to tie it back in. But because you've got 3 hours at, ish to tell this thing. So tell this thing and then leave some hooks for other directors and writers to latch on to, that I think it'll probably be curated pretty well.
Right. No, I think that's fair. I mean, like, there's so much money on the line.
Yeah.
If it starts looking south, they're gonna dump the whole project. It is so strange, though, and this is I want to kind of start talking about some Scarlet Witch stuff since we had mentioned into that. But it is so bizarre right now. Like, if you're turning on Disney Plus and they have this, broken down subcategories. One of them is Marvel, and you click it, and it's like these 6 people, like they have their characters, as the actors portray them across the big banner at the top of this. And I'm just like, this is 6 people and it's billions and billions and billions. And what a fucking weird, surreal thing it's got to be to turn on that streaming service. And it's just like, yeah, there's still me there as Captain America. Everybody fucking, or there's me as, Black Widow or the Hulk or whatever, but Thor. And it's just like, that's got to be, I don't know. It came to me last night when I was, you won't believe this, high as fuck. And I was like, it'd be mind numbing to me to be like,
yeah, it's got to be
that
like,
heavily.
Nobody thinks that Chris Evans' decision to leave the MCU is a bad one, right? Like we all think, but like we also have to realize like this has been his life, and now like he is this thing more than himself. Like somehow Chris Evans, the zeitgeist of him, is a far more meaningful thing than the person, and that's gotta be really fucking weird, man.
Yeah.
It is strange because when he was cast as Captain America, I already loved him because his Not Another Teen Movie character was hysterical, and his Johnny Storm was the best part of the first 2 Fantastic Four.
It was
movies.
the best part of those 2 movies. Absolutely, I agree. The best part.
That's right. And so him as Captain America, to me, he seemed like this sort of silly frat boy comedic actor. And so Captain America being Captain America, I thought that's not gonna work. And like 10 years later I was wrong.
Sure.
But
I was only able to admit it last year.
Right. 10 years.
I think there might be something to this Chris Evans casting now that he's gone.
Well, it's such a thing that we used to like. The culture was pushing it back against. I don't want to be typecast. I don't want to do this movie 2 times because I don't want people to just think of me as this role.
Fucking Vin Diesel said that he wasn't going to do sequels, that he wasn't in Too Fast, Too Furious. And he had a thing where he was like, I'm not going to do sequels. He ended up doing, his first sequel was XXX2. And then he's been in like every Fast and Furious since like, I don't know, 4 or 5, I guess.
Well, it's just money. How do you have a fucking...
What do you hate money?
Yeah. I'm sorry, but you can't... I'm going to tangent here just momentarily, but you can't do a movie called Fast and Furious and then be like, I'm too artistically sound to do Too Fast, Too Furious.
And like his very second movie was a sequel, was it not?
What?
Riddick was a sequel to Pitch Black.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, Steve-O
That's a good point. That's a fucking good point. I don't know where on the timeline these things are. Maybe he did XXX2 before he did Chronicles of Riddick.
Pitch Black was his very first movie. I'm pretty sure
Pitch Black,
his Riddick movie was his second movie.
Yeah.
No.
No? Okay.
No.
That's not it. They didn't come out right after. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
2 hours later.
Okay, we're back. And I know it seems weird because we were away for half a moment, but apparently whether or not Vin Diesel was honest when he said he does not do sequels at that point in time was such a sticking point for us. We had to stop the whole show.
Yeah.
Stop the whole show.
He didn't do sequels at Too Fast, Too Furious, but the very next year did a sequel.
For 30 minutes. Yeah, he spent 30 minutes on that on that principle.
He pulled out the whiteboard. Yeah.
He's like, wait, it's still a job? Oh fuck! I want jobs.
You mean I'm not the new? Oh shit! I'm not the new action star. I'll do whatever. Do whatever you want. No, that's fair. So yeah, so do you owe Vin Diesel an apology then? Because you did kind of make it seem like he was lying.
Sure, Vin Diesel, I apologize to you.
Very insincere.
Yeah,
very
there's
insincere.
zero.
We stepped
sincerity,
away
like-
and took a tangent to prove Caleb wrong.
Mhm.
And that's
Yeah.
the most Red Six thing we've ever done.
It's true. Oh my gosh, I can feel this chaos coming out of us today.
It is
Speaking of-
chaos and multiversal in a way. You said you didn't want me to use that you said you didn't want me to use it, but I brought it back. Because I don't give a shit, Nick.
I love it. The chaos is
yeah.
here. It's with us today. So because of that, we got to talk about Scarlet Witch.
Yes, and I think before we even get there,
Okay.
I want to get everyone's like 1, 2, 3 of the 3 TV shows that are out right now. Nick, you had said on the last episode that yours was Loki, Scarlet Witch,
Falcon and
Winter Soldier. I did Scarlet Witch, Loki, Falcon, Winter Soldier.
Mhm.
Has theirs changed? Because mine is not.
It's still the same. It's still
Yeah.
the same. Steve-O.
And I have a bunch of caveats, but my 1, 2, 3 is Falcon, Winter Soldier, Loki, and then WandaVision. But I need you to know that I think WandaVision is the best made series. I think it's the best series.
Okay.
I can't go back and watch it again.
Okay, interesting. Like, so can you expand on that for a minute? Because I'm curious.
Like, I think there's a couple things. I think Falcon and Winter Soldier could have been a movie.
Mhm.
I think that Loki probably could have been a movie, but I'm iffy on that. Maybe you could sway me one way or the other.
Mhm.
WandaVision had to be a series. It does not work as a movie. So in terms of it being the first series, it's perfect. The acting and story is concise. It could only exist as it does in those like 6 or 8 episodes or whatever.
Right.
And it's touching and it's memorable and
Yeah.
it's heartbreaking and it's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Mm.
And none of the other 2 series really are. But to me, like, Falcon Winter Soldier is just like, fucking like popcorn blasting, you know, blasting enemies. And it's not like a top political thriller so much as, but it did give me some like really haunting imagery with Captain America having fucking murdered someone.
Right.
And
Right.
like this, so there's stuff that sticks with me. I'd watch it again. Same thing with
Yeah.
Loki. It was wacky and goofy.
I do have to say though, like you're putting Falcon Winter Soldier number 1, and you're also admitting that this 6 to 8 episodes, whatever it was, could have been 2 hours, and you still would have liked it.
Yes.
That's a real weird thing for me to reconcile here, Steve. It's like there's 2 hours of it that is insanely good, and the rest of it sucks, and I admit that. And those 2 hours are I'm willing to bank on.
We have the 1, 2, 3 is hard because like, are we talking about what are the best ones? Are we talking about what are our favorite ones? And so I just went with what I would be most excited to watch again.
Yeah. Okay. Well, see, here's the thing I have with the Falcon Winter Soldier though, is I get and I agree that it feels like it should have been a movie, but it feels like a Marvel Phase 1 movie. Like it's just very grounded in its scope, and it's, you know, going to be this character's arc, this character's story, and it's going to resolve with a very mediocre. I'm saying mediocre. I don't mean that negatively, but it's not a crazy scale size villain. It's just a almost street level personal story.
And and we've talked about this, maybe off podcast, maybe on podcast. There are some issues with mixed messaging, and I can't ignore those mixed message issues. Those are problems. But there are things that it touches on that societally, I think, make I'm like would have been great Phase 1, but like at the time that it arrived. Like, you know, the way that they treated the like the first Black super soldier.
Yeah,
like
Isaiah Bradley. Yeah,
happening now is a thing that had to happen now.
No, yeah,
Right,
I get that. I get that. No, it's very true.
And I do think that there are some bright moments, but I do think that most of that show is kind of throwaway. And that's why I have a hard time. Like, to me, the 1 and 2 are close with Loki and Scarlet Witch, and Falcon Winter Soldier was so far down on 3 just because like I don't care at all about the Flag Smashers. Overall, they fumble that storyline in such a way, that I don't know if I'm supposed to think of these people are good guys or bad guys. They just end up being very neutral, and like it's hard to be like, yeah, like your message is so neutral that like I can get behind it. Like I just don't have that moment with them.
Sure.
And so it ends up being more about this new Cap storyline and less about everything else. And the it's not Peggy Carter. What's
Peggy Carter's granddaughter.
what's her first name?
Amanda Carter.
Amanda Hug and Kiss.
Okay,
Carter.
yeah.
Yeah.
That gets real like unnecessary. Like it's just like, look, we can make her real bad. Isn't that cool? It's
Yeah,
like, no,
yeah.
Not really.
You didn't feel like it was
It didn't
true to the character.
It's not true to the character, and it didn't earn its ability to tell that story. Like I don't see the path that we get this character out of. Like that path isn't revealed to us, so it doesn't feel earned, and therefore it feels very flat to me. So there's just so many problems.
So let me kick a couple things out at you guys that I liked, and Steve-O, maybe you could do the same as well. That things from the Captain and Winter Soldier that were enjoyable, and get your kind of take on that.
Yeah.
So this U.S. agent, so Captain America, but
Yeah.
I'm going to say U.S. agent, so we
Sure.
know exactly what we're talking about. So U.S. agent murdering someone in public, and this kind of breaking of the pedestal that we've put this character and country on, so to speak. Did that kind of have any resonate, or did that point it even?
Like I feel like it super resonates with Steve-O, and it just it didn't resonate with me as much because like I feel like I have read that comic. Like for some reason it wasn't new to me, but it's not a fault. It's not a fault of that scene. I think the cinematography in that scene is great and the messaging is good. And so for like a first time experience, it's way better than my first time experience with that same storyline.
Sure.
Because they really do a good job of it. That being said, it wasn't like I felt I knew from the moment he dons the Captain America shield what I was going to get out of US Agent. Like I felt like that was rote for me.
Right.
So like, yeah, I knew that he wasn't going to be able to do it. He's not going to be able to be Captain America. That's not the way that the MCU is set up. I thought that I think the actors did a great job. Actually, I think the actor for US Agent, so Wyatt Russell, Russell, shit.
Yeah, Russell Simmons.
No,
Yeah.
It's I can't remember his name.
Russell.
He did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
For US Agent. I think he did a fantastic job. Maybe the best one in the show. And yeah, but to me, again, the mixed messaging is I have to sort of selectively choose which messages to really take from the show because it doesn't make sense if you look at the whole thing. But yeah, the idea of like, not only like, do we put too much trust in Captain America or any specific hero, but as a reflection of this country being like really effective to me, and seeing the imagery of like the blood on the shield was just like a goddamn moment for me,
Yeah.
And so yeah, that worked. It did work.
No, I agree. I really feel like I'm falling between the two of you on this one, because I feel that there was a lot of things they brought up in it that I thought were really interesting, but I kind of wanted them to do more of those than what they ended up doing. Flag Smashers, I agree. Their message was not very clear, and the idea of rooting for like a terrorist group is just like, it's just, even if it's like you can kind of spin it as best you can, it still feels weird.
And it almost feels like they gave up on trying to spin it after a while, and it's just like, they are what they are. Like I think that it might have been an interesting story. It could, there was bones there. I get and see what they were trying to do, and there's something interesting there. We just never get it.
Yeah.
I
and
don't
also,
disagree with that at all.
The Isaiah Bradley, that whole sequence and scene, I'm going, oh my God, I want that. I want, red, white, and black. Like I want that story, but we kind of step away from it because that's a character that's helping build, the new Captain America. That's helping build Falcon's like understanding of what it means, and everyone around him. So it serves a great purpose, but I was just going like, oh fuck, I want more. I want to know more about that. Like,
you have to wonder if maybe it's a hook for potentially a show, because like I don't know anybody who doesn't feel that way. Like everybody's like, I want more of that guy. Like, let's see what that like.
Show us the series of young Isaiah Bradley, and we're
and maybe it was a hook and a test. Like, let's see how people react to this guy, and if they react positively, let's put it on the slate, you know?
Well, his I think it's his. I'm not sure if it's his son, grandson, maybe at that point. Kind of time, I'm not sure exactly on. But his son in that we meet in the series does go on to be in the Young Avengers. So there is
Yes.
like, you know, a building that happens in there. But
Yeah.
to your point, I agree. Like I would rather have just seen that that side of the story,
Yeah,
because it
I
was like,
agree.
whew,
And
intense.
I don't know if you
Yeah.
want to, like, you know, if this is comparing apples and apples,
Yeah.
but I will note that WandaVision did receive 23 primetime Emmy nominations, and Falcon and Winter Soldier received 5, which, you know, is
Mhm.
what it is. But the part of the interesting thing about that is Don Cheadle was in Falcon Winter Soldier for 98 seconds and got an Emmy nomination.
The 1 of 5. 1
Wow.
of 5. 90 seconds. That's all I need.
Like, and I love
Jeez.
Don Cheadle, but damn.
Sure.
You
Sure.
know he walked up to that stage like, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a lunch meeting that
Yeah.
I decided to do a favor for, you
I
know?
was on set one day.
After the nomination, his tweet was, "I'm just as surprised as you."
Yeah, there we go. That's it. Yeah.
He gets it. Yeah. That's
Wow.
Good on him.
Okay.
Good
All
on him.
right. Yeah, and I don't think that is a fair metric for these types of shows, just
Agree,
because
agree.
like Falcon and Winter Soldier is not trying to do anything new, and WandaVision's trying to do something new.
Yeah.
So you automatically just kind of get points in that industry for trying something new, right? Like bringing the same thing to the table for an award show is not the best way to get the gold.
Yeah.
And so just by its very nature, WandaVision was poised to win more, and that's not a fair metric.
So I've heard and I've read that initially that the order was going to be the Falcon and Winter Soldier was supposed to be released first.
That's right.
And then they swapped it with Scarlet Witch, which I think would have made more sense as far as how they ramped
Yes.
the show, and I think would have helped the Falcon and Winter Soldier, because that's a hard act to follow when you're talking scale.
I agree.
See, I felt different. I
Go
felt
on,
like
please.
it was a great idea to put WandaVision first, because it's been a while since we've had Marvel content. We're thirsty for it, and if you start with WandaVision, it's slower. It takes this. You have to invest into the entire series,
Mhm.
and then it's got, you know, a brilliant payoff and all of those things, and then you follow it up with the slam bang action blockbuster. Like, cool, that's fine.
Right.
But if you start with Falcon Winter Soldier, and it's like, oh, this is Marvel punching,
Yeah.
shooting motherfuckers off the highway,
Oh, we've got a Hulk.
and now stop and pay attention, and I think you're going to lose people.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that I think ironically both are correct. Like, I think from the aspect of what you're saying, like, is it best for WandaVision to have put it first? Yeah, absolutely. But I think we could have had some, like, instead of having what the media seems to be a high on WandaVision and a fairly mediocre to low response on Falcon and Winter Soldier, had you flipped them, you might have maybe evened that out a
Yeah,
bit.
sure.
Yeah, and I agree. There is like plenty of reasons that that order could have gone either way on it,
Yeah.
and had the same results on it.
But you have to end with Loki, though. Like,
Yeah.
that sounds
Yeah.
like a dumb question, but you have to.
So building that though, like you talk about ending with Loki. Did it end with Loki, or does it? When you actually talk about the true cinematic universe, does it end with
start?
Scarlet Witch?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Or does it start with Loki?
Yeah, but
That's what I
like,
thought you were going to say.
capping on, not, oh my gosh, put a cap on the Falcon and Winter Soldier. My only whatever with this that kind of does put it a little bit lower on my scaling is the fact that I felt like it was slightly of a manufactured need for Falcon to doubt himself about becoming Captain America. Like, I get that it's a big role to fill, and I think that's something interesting that he can take on in that character. But to have a series about that was like, oh wow, this really was
I
big
feel like
struggle
it's
point for you.
super necessary, because
yeah.
oh, I'm going to be the next Captain America. Dope. And then rolling into the next film as, like, without
Sure.
any of the baggage that goes with that. I think it does. You know what? I might have stepped off of it could have been a movie, and maybe it did need to be a series, because a whole movie about, I'm not sure if I can do this. There's responsibility outside. Like, it's easy for Chris Evans to get jacked up and then go fight Nazis and then continue that. He's a white, blonde-haired guy. Like, no one's going to question his ability to do that.
Yeah.
And everyone's going to question Falcon's ability to do that. So you have to spend a few episodes pointing that out.
Not even in universe. Like, there was already kind of this, upswelling of like, we feel like it should be Bucky. And I think they get to win those people over with this storyline. It's like, well, even Bucky wants it, he's struggling. He's not just cocky about this. It's a heavy decision on him. And so I think they were allowed to tell that story. And in the end, nobody's, as hard down as like, I wanted it to be Bucky. Like that kind of just went away.
Yeah.
And that's good. Like I feel like it was the right decision to give it to the one who's not mentally unstable,
But what if we handed the bright and shining shield of Captain America to a fucked up murderer?
It would been correct. Like, as far as most apropos choice for representing America. Some guy that's just murdered a whole bunch of shit and be like, I'm good now. I'm a good guy now.
No, I'm not going to do it anymore.
Yeah, exactly. That was
now
fun.
I'll just kill the people you want me to kill.
Yeah. Whoa, gosh.
America.
Take my hat off. Right. But so let's dovetail then into the Scarlet Witch, because we're talking about that. Scarlet, where do you start off with this? Because I was super, super hyped, super loving this on board. But I got to say, as the series goes on, I think it kind of like loses the charm that it built up in the beginning.
I think I understand the sentiment. And I think that we need to address the ending before we can address anything, because that seems to be the sticking point for most people. Like, I feel like it's pretty divided on how the lens that we look back on this show between she's a criminal and, she is on a journey. Like,
and separating it from being like Captain America was a criminal at the end of Civil War, but he was in his morals, this is against the state criminal, and not, I just did one of the worst things imaginable to thousands of people and am a criminal.
And innocence, like ultimately the most innocent of innocent, like these people have no agency in this world. They have no way to determine any policy. This is just a town trying to live. And
it's not a tough, morally ambiguous conversation to have. Like, no one's going to come in and go, she might have been right, if you think about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, like, when sometimes you just got to work through some shit. And if that means you
enslaving a town, that means enslaving a town.
That's a lot of grief in that person. Her robot died. her mechanical object died. And that she could just make another of.
Right.
No. But that is okay. So this is the thing that we're setting up.
This is the crux of.
This is kind of what set us off.
Yeah.
This was truly our real sticker for this, is that whether or not you feel that Scarlet Witch is a criminal, and I was proposing that she is a villain at the end of this because there's no consequence. And she ran from the repercussions of her actions. And
I get that. And I don't see this as being something that isn't like allowed to be left for the next story. Like, this is just a hook. This is, we have set this thing up in a way that I don't believe there are zero consequences for this. Like, just because we ended here doesn't mean that we can't show consequences. And I also understand that we have little faith that these consequences will be delivered, and I don't fault the storyteller for the fact that the next guy in isn't going to bring those consequences. I think he set up everything he needed to do for the story to be what it was, and I really enjoyed that.
Steve-O, Caleb puts killers on a pedestal. Do you do the same?
I don't. I think that I think that I want to say it depends and just sound like an answer
Oh,
where
don't shit your
where I
pants.
piss
You don't-
myself all over this.
Don't
Okay,
depends
here's
this.
Elizabeth Olsen has said that there's not going to be a season 2 of WandaVision. So far as we know, there is not a WandaVision season 2.
Okay.
So it has to be addressed somewhere else. So if it's addressed
Okay.
somewhere else, will they address it enough? Besides going, well, I'm glad you really really came to your senses after that.
Yeah, I
mess
sent
back-
everyone.
You know what I mean? After you get
Wow,
there.
I'll be honest. I took a couple Pilates classes, cleared my mind,
feeling so much
went
better
out to
now.
the woods, and I sent everyone a nice sausage basket. What was it? What was this? Hickory Farms. I sent them a Hickory Farms. Oh my god, I almost thought.
We're in Jones. You need to send them a blue and gold sausage basket, sir. Oh my god.
There is
only to support the high school football team.
I can think of the Scarlet Witch as a hero who did one of the worst things that they could do.
Yeah.
And if she pays for it, she has to
Mhm.
pay for it. And not 10 years from now. Like, remember at the beginning of this arc when you did this thing and now you're sacrificing yourself for everybody to make up for it. No, that's not okay. Like, that has to be addressed the next time we see the Scarlet fucking Witch. Like,
Yeah.
either are you, like, do you care about all the stuff you did? Because if no, you are a villain. Are you going to pay for the stuff you did? Then you are a hero who did something awful and is trying to make up for it. And I don't know if that's where that happens in what movie or what, but
Mm-hmm.
I think right now I think of her as a hero who regrets what she did and will have to pay for that.
Now, do you think she's regretting what she did because she's in the woods, like making what was she doing, like laundry and house chores while reading the Book of the Dead? What? Like, yeah. Do you
What
feel-
makes me think she regrets it?
Yeah.
Hope. my own ascribed hope. Nothing about the show makes me. Yeah, nothing.
That's fair. Caleb, you were
Like,
saying.
well, I don't know. Like, do you want her to stop living? Like, do you want her to like just be slovenly? Is that showing somehow that she is working through the process?
For me, if you're asking me, like, if they had in a way something that represented the weight of what just happened, and if that meant that she was living in some kind of destitute fashion, whatever, because the guilt of what happened couldn't let her have nice things, couldn't let her enjoy nice things or whatever. Yeah, that would be a thing. So yeah, I agree.
It's also real weird though, and I just heaped a bunch of praise on WandaVision for being
Yeah.
the best of the series. But it's hard to go, this character is extraordinarily broken and dealing with a lot of the guilt and sadness and sorrow that she carried in terms of Vision.
Mm-hmm.
And now she's gotten over that and will have to carry the guilt and sorrow of everything that she just did to this. Like, I
Well-
have a feeling that they may kind of go, well, they turned out okay.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried that they're going to go, brush this off the table.
Like, I think we're all worried that, but does that mean this story in a bottle
Yeah.
failed because the baton isn't handed off well?
That's a good question.
I do feel that if you don't have a real sense of acknowledging it within this series, and this series is not, as Steve was saying, planning to have a sequel, you have to look at this series as a, as
a
best
single contained unit.
as best you can. You know what I mean? Like, you can go, okay, well, I see where her character could go from here, but when we're talking about repercussions for these actions or whatever, if you don't have any kind of lead to what that might be, then you're kind of left feeling that it's done.
And it's not like in a like in the first Batman, in Batman Begins, where he goes, I'm not gonna kill you, but I don't have to save you, which is fucking killing him, right?
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
like you think to yourself, okay, so like maybe he carries that with him, maybe he doesn't, but this guy was really bad, and so like, what do? We can have a discussion after the film about
Right.
that. In
Yeah.
WandaVision, this is not. I wonder about that choice. This was like I said earlier, just the worst fucking thing that you could possibly do,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and don't address it by the end of the series.
Do you think it was the matter of they didn't really realize that what she was actually doing when she was writing it? They were just going like, oh, she had a break, and it was like it happened. And, that's a unfortunate aspect of her powers. Like,
No, I don't think so, because then they wouldn't have the moment at all where it's just like, you need to leave. Like, I think that your analysis of the final scene
Yeah.
is she's over it is
Mhm.
more ambiguous than that.
Yeah.
I don't know that, and I think that the scene right before that is you need to get out of town.
Mhm.
So I do feel like there's a possibility to acknowledge the weight of what she's done.
Yeah.
I don't feel like they've like tried to wrap it up. I feel like they've intentionally left it ambiguous.
Mhm.
And I'm even like fully on board with your, they maybe should have presented her not doing laundry. Okay, yeah, that does somewhat track. It's
Like-
the weirdest take out of this, but
Yeah.
it does somewhat track. I do understand. I see it as more as she needs to split herself up so she
Mhm.
can do that. Like she can't do the things that she needs to survive because of she's dealing with this. So she creates copies of herself so the clones can do the day-to-day things so she can deal with the shit she's going through.
Okay.
But maybe that's looking too far into it. Like it's all at this point speculation because they've left it ambiguous.
Like, and I kind of want to go back and watch it again, but I remember the crane shot, and it was like, wow, this is a really beautiful, remote, picturesque postcard Colorado cabin.
Yeah.
Not a like she has secluded herself off and is working on herself. And
But
you
it
know
is
what
seclusion, right? Like
It
it
is
is still
seclusion.
seclusion.
It's
If
true. It's
you're
true.
It's just
Jeffrey
like-
Bezos, it is
but it-
seclusion.
But it's a little funny. It's like she can't go glamping. That's fucked up. Like, well, no, she's still secluding herself.
Where'd she get that money, bro? Where'd she
She
take
doesn't
that
need
clip?
money.
Oh, she doesn't?
No, she can manifest reality.
Okay. So you say the cabin,
Fair.
she made it.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. No,
Okay.
I
yeah. I totally think she made the cabin.
interesting. I didn't think I did not take that. I was just assuming she
Killed
honestly, I was
someone and
thinking
took
of
their
it-
cabin.
She's already a villain.
Yeah.
She's already murking people.
She was mopping up the blood when we flew in there on that crane shot.
Who didn't she kill? The other villain. Yeah.
Was that the cabin Thanos was in when they chopped his head off, or no? Who knows?
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, it looks pretty suspicious to me. No. No, I think this is great, though. I think it is interesting. I'd be curious to hear what other people think, because though it is, I feel like for us, this true hard line, I don't actually see a lot of people talking about it. Have you all seen this discussion?
Yeah, you're right. I haven't seen this discussion online, but yet I've had this discussion with multiple people
Yes.
now. So it's this weird thing of where like I feel like people can't hot take it, so they're just like,
Yeah.
Right,
I'm just
yeah.
gonna let this go.
There is-
But yet it still eats at people, so we still are having these conversations locally and offline. It's weird.
That's true.
Yeah. And you know, I can't remember if this was mentioned or not before, but Nick, I know at the very least offline to us, we had mentioned that the final episode of WandaVision and the final episode of Loki, if you start them at the same time,
Right.
the timestamps, supposedly, I've watched the video, and it's one of those where, like, it does make sense, but you might need to want it to make sense.
yeah.
So what happens is, like, as it's at the time codes, if you start the episodes at the same time at, I don't know, 23 minutes, 26 minutes
Okay.
in, the things that happen in WandaVision seem to have the you called him the Immortus, the villain of Loki. He
Right.
seems to be reacting because she becomes Scarlet Witch
And that weight.
right at the moment before he says it's too late. Everything we've already passed it.
We've
I
crossed that
don't
line.
know what's going to happen.
Right.
And so that does seem to line up. But did we just really want it to?
Yeah. There was a bit of a shoehorn going on there. I mean, it's you might be right on that, but it's such an interesting. I mean, see, it is an interesting concept, but I don't know if it really what
Because-
that greater.
but what else
meaning
would it
behind
have
that
been?
is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else would it have been for him to just sort of sit up in his chair and go, we're past the point where I know what's going on now.
Yeah.
Like,
why now?
other
not?
than an arbitrary chosen moment in time, that lines up pretty fucking good.
Yeah, because according to the concept of Mortis being able to view the timeline, the only point he should not be able to see would be beyond the point of his own death.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even then, he technically should be able to, but that's fine. Let's say it's death is when it stops, so he should be able to see them up until the point of making that decision. But
Okay, so maybe it didn't have anything to do with Scarlet Witch at all, and Loki, the Loki variant, when
That was the
she
time
decides,
she decides, I'm
she
doing
knows
this.
I'm going to kill him. I've heard him out, and I'm going to kill him. And then he clicked and went, all right, I can't see anything else. I don't know what's going to happen here.
But it's still an arbitrary point. Why did she decide then and not 3 seconds later or not a minute later? Like, it is
Right, it
still
really does
weird
li-
that this
it's weird it
arbitrary
lines up.
point does line up with something at all.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I was going to ask about this. Do you feel that with Scarlet Witch, with the changing it into the legend of the Scarlet Witch versus like the Scarlet Witch is a title, like a manifested being kind of thing, and she's ascending to that state. We didn't really cover any of that like outcomes on the actual Scarlet Witch side of it. How is like, did you guys have any reaction to that? Was because I thought that was a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, I think it's cool, but
Yeah.
it didn't give me much. Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of when like a movie wants to use the title of the movie inside of a movie. It's kind of what it felt like to me.
Okay.
It's like, oh yeah, you did it. You shoehorned it
Roll
in there.
credit.
Yeah.
So like I agree. I simultaneously liked it because it makes it seem established,
Mhm.
but you established it 10 minutes ago. But 10 minutes ago, you said it's been here the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah,
know,
exactly.
And you know, Star Wars Episode 1 did that in a way, right? It was like, oh, there was a chosen one, by the way, that Vader is, by the way.
yeah.
And it's been there the whole time,
Yeah.
by the way.
This has all been happening.
Yeah.
You're just now catching up.
Always has been.
Yeah. Wow. All right. So it's interesting conversations. A lot of interesting stuff to talk about with the series. But I do feel that it maybe take an opportunity to be a little information dump here to talk about what's coming up and to see if there's any of those that really appeal to you as well.
I like that. I do want to say, if you guys that are listening, in the comments here on the YouTube video or tweet us at whatever our Twitter handle is, let us know your 3 of the series. Your 1, 2, 3.
Definitely.
Gosh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I want to see that ranking.
Yeah.
So do we want to take? Do we have time? I'm not sure how we're doing time wise. Do we have time wise to go?
Yeah.
Over So I'm going to bring up some of the, since we're talking about the series, we'll do some of those first. What If just started. So if you're listening to this now, you maybe the second episode's been out. I did catch the first one, just FYI. I liked it. A bit bottle, but it was nice. Next, you're going to have November 24th. They're going to do Hawkeye, which should be the Kate Bishop Hawkeye.
Okay, good. Because I was going to say, like, I'm done with Jeremy Renner in the MCU, kind of. Like,
but he's still going to be in it.
I've got to imagine, right?
It doesn't ignore him. It's passing the torch. It's a series about passing the torch, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. What if it's just gonna be? It's just gonna be the both of them the whole time. You're gonna be so rage. So
I won't be impressed. Like, I think that it is time. Like, I think that they thought they were going to get a real big payoff with Ronan in Infinity War.
Sure.
And I thought it was dumb. Like, it was just like, okay, cool. Yeah, you gave me Ronan and like he's a bad guy now. It didn't pay off at all for me, and it was just like it was just there. I really thought it took away. It was not an additive process for me. It felt like it took away from the story, not added.
I think that there's a way they can do this in and I don't want to draw too many parallels to like Last of Us, but there is sort of this trope that we're really into now, right? The failed father figure. Okay. So Joel from Last of Us, Kratos from God of War, Mando and Mandalorian, like these father figures that learn how to be good fathers. That's a thing we're into right now. So I think that Hawkeye can do that and go like you're acknowledged, like you're a shitty character. Jeremy Renner even maybe kind of did some shitty, your takes on some things have been maybe not so great, and maybe redeem him a little bit, both in terms of character and in terms of actor, of like, you're going to pass the torch on to Kate Bishop and you're going to start by being kind of a shitty dad maybe, and then grow to be someone worthwhile as a person, not as a hero.
Moving, Miss Marvel apparently still slotted maybe in the year, maybe next year, but Miss Marvel's
a film.
So no, you're thinking Captain Marvel.
I'm thinking Captain. Shit.
So are they going to do the current run of Miss Marvel then?
Well, so far the information, I think that's where they're going.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, I'm all down for that. So if you're not as familiar with Miss Marvel and the kind of major transformation we had with this character, this is this is initially Carol Danvers's storyline. She ends up going from Miss Marvel to Captain Marvel. But then they reboot the Miss Marvel series in, I don't know, 2014.
Yeah, I was gonna say the tens of some,
Yeah.
mid-tens.
And they do it with this Pakistani
Mhm.
girl from New York, and it's giving it a whole, like, it's written from a female writer and illustrated with a female,
Mhm.
and one of those two is Pakistani. I don't know if it's the writer or the
Oh,
artist.
okay. Gotcha.
But they went on to do a
Yeah.
great run of Miss Marvel, and it brought something new and fresh, and it was culturally new. It gave us a really interesting side that we've not had before, and I loved it.
Became the new protagonist for the big like Marvel MCU video game that came out.
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
she's the main character in
Mhm.
Avengers, the
Mhm.
game.
Oh,
yeah?
Avengers. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so that should be good. Moon Knight is going to be interesting. I feel like Moon Knight's such a weird character that I'm going to be curious to see the series version of that. I don't know. I never read Moon Knight. Do you read Moon Knight?
I did back, like, no. Did I read it regularly? No, but I think I had a couple of
Mhm.
Moon Knight comics back in the 90s, and it's going to be like the current run of Moon Knight. From what I understand, his fourth wall breaking and stuff comes from a place of like dissociative disorder, or maybe even
multiple personality.
maybe
something
that.
along
Yeah,
that lines.
I haven't read the current run, but it
Yeah.
is a take on mental health, and maybe even an issue of his to have this mental health burden. And I don't know if they're going to handle it well. I'm really nervous of that one, to be quite honest.
Sure. I mean, there is a thing about representation, which is positive, but at the
Yeah.
same time, if it's handled poorly, it shoots itself in the foot.
Yeah.
I feel like that there is a decent social understanding of this kind of thing now that we're doing well. And yes, you have to handle it with care and with thoughtfulness. It doesn't mean you have to do it perfectly, but you have to care about what you're talking about.
Mhm.
There's a game that I mentioned on the last podcast, Hellblade, where it deals with her psychosis, and they had like teams
Mhm.
of psychologists that work with them on it. You can do that with Moon Knight, and Oscar Isaac, I think, is the cast as Moon Knight.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
fucking love him. Ethan Hawke is the villain,
Oh.
and he does a good job. So
Gattaca's Ethan Hawke?
yes, from Gattaca fame.
Sorry.
Gattaca! And yeah, I think they can. I'm positive on
Yeah.
this. I think they can do it. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt until they don't, and go, I think that they have some thoughtful people here and can make.
Is this a
work.
hot take if I was to say I trust Marvel to do it better than DC? I don't know.
I think for me to say that's kind of a hot take. Yeah.
I think it's a hot take.
Yeah.
I just like, and I'm not saying I haven't seen it dealt with well
Mhm.
in great, like, I think the one that I remember as of recent was my rewatch of Community.
Yeah.
They do an episode where Ahmed has a breakdown,
Mhm.
and everything gets animated, and they handle it with real care, and there is jokes being told, and that, so
Yeah.
yes, it can be done. I am not sure I have the same faith in Marvel that you guys do to pull this off.
Fair.
Yeah.
I don't want that to come off as like, I trust the biggest corporation on the planet to handle
I trust
mental
corporate
illness well.
America.
That is not at all what I'm saying. I'm saying that the writers and people involved, and the way that the studio has managed to at least keep in mind social issues has been okay. Not great, but okay.
Yeah.
And so
for me, it's even a failure if they Rain Man this, right? Like, it's just like somehow his psychosis makes him funnier, makes him more powerful. Like, even if that is the take, I don't like it. I don't think that this is a positive addition to that community.
So you wouldn't want the movie Predators.
Okay.
Do you remember the reboot? It was kind of a reboot of
I
Predators.
remember. I don't know that I ever watched it, to be quite honest.
The take of the film is that autism is a superpower.
Yes.
And I'm not saying that's like a bad take to have. I don't know that that's a good take to have, but there's
an unrealistic take to have, if nothing else.
There's going to be, I don't know what, like, you're going to have to handle this with thought.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that the film did.
Yeah.
The Predators film that I'm talking about did. But yeah.
Yeah, I
your
think
psychosis is your superpower. I don't know how that's
is very
work.
problematic, because now you have people who are in this community who like they get treated in a way that is just like, okay, what's your superpower? You know, like
Yeah.
Exactly.
we can't just take autism.
Can you remember everything? No, that's not how it fucking works.
That's not how it works. Yeah, like, what day of the week was December 7th,
That's not me.
1922? You know,
I don't do that. I don't do that.
It's weird. Like, and that's what I worry about from Marvel. I don't feel like they're going to make him like. I don't think that people are going to hate people with disabilities. That's not going to happen. But I'm afraid that they will tune it to be a superpower, and that's not helpful either.
Yeah, exactly. That can cause more problems than.
Yeah.
So here's another one, though. I want to move on from that. I'm sorry. Did we want to put a cap?
No, I think we're done with that.
I'm gonna move on. They're also apparently planning for December 2022 the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm in.
Yeah.
Is it James Gunn? Is James Gunn involved?
I don't
in
have
it?
that information. I would hope so. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would love a Troma style like version of a holiday special, but I don't know. I'm on board with it. I feel like it's cashing in on the fun, whatever, clever. And I hope somehow we get like Boba Fett in it, riding a whatever dinosaur.
Yeah.
Chris Pratt gives his grandpa like Wookiee porn. By the way, I'm not making that up. That's an actual thing from the Star Wars Holiday Special. I'm not just making shit up.
Yeah, just being weird.
Literally.
I'm not just being me.
It's weird that's your one takeaway from it.
Okay, I can tell you that the special is written and directed by James Gunn.
Is it really?
Wow.
Yes.
So how much do they need to reference the Star Wars holiday special for this branding association to be successful? Can it just be in passing?
I mean, that's my hope. Like, if it's a fucking shot-by-shot Gus Van Sant, whatever remake.
Obviously, that's terrible.
Yeah.
But what's in between? Like, can it be his quest to watch the Star Wars holiday special?
Okay, that's interesting to me, Steve-O.
I could buy that, and I think that in terms of, I think the term holiday special for nerds, and maybe I'm just living a microcosm, so someone let me know.
But you're in the gutter.
When I hear the word holiday special, the literally only thing I think is Star Wars Holiday Special.
Yeah.
And whether you've seen it or not, you know that it is the deepest, darkest shame of the Star Wars saga of Lucas's career. Like, he doesn't want it out. I think the only physical version of it is a film reel that's up his own ass.
But you could find it.
You can find it out there digitally. But
That's on YouTube. I'm just saying, I hate. Look, I'm a hacker at heart.
Hacksaws.
Hacksaws the Planet Source, and it is on YouTube, so you can hack that, pirate that movie for yourself.
I'm fine with them referencing it, making it pointing out that there was one, or Star-Lord's like, oh, this isn't going to be the Star Wars Holiday Special, is it? I'm fine with lightly, and then doing their own thing. But if they don't reference it, I'm going to be mad. Yeah,
there has to be at least some sort of reference, even if it's like a Clerks 2 style Lord of the Rings reference, where it's just like them droning on and on about. Yeah.
Oh, boys, I think we're wrong. I'm actually taking. I've come around the corner on it, and I do want it to be like it's like, I am Groot, and they're like, oh, it's Life Day on Groot's home planet. I want it. I fucking want it. I am Groot. We're gonna see Stinky and everybody there. I am Groot.
God damn, your Groot is impressive.
Thanks. I came from the same monosyllabic I don't even know how to say syllabus.
Monoslavic.
It's just East European.
Come from the monoblock.
I'm sorry, Steve-O. I think you're about to compliment me on something.
It was fantastic. I've heard 1,000 people say I am Groot, and yours is the only one that sounded like fucking Groot to me.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Guy who won't do sequels.
Now tell me I'm family, Nick.
Yeah. It's about family. Oh, I couldn't do it as well. But yeah.
No, that was great. You did great.
Thank you. I appreciate it. But yeah, that's what I would take. 100% holiday special is going to be about Life Day. And then you just tweak every reference in there, and you somehow make it work for the Guardians of the Galaxy universe.
And they'll need like a full 15-minute musical interpretive dance moment, like where you're sitting there, just wondering, why are you dancing? Like, why is this hollow dance taking
happening?
place for 10 straight minutes? It's way too long.
Artistic freedom. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just saying. Also, just to kind of put a pin in this and wrap it up, Dorothy from the Golden Girls is in the holiday special, Star Wars holiday special. So, R.I.P. But maybe they bring her back for this. Give her the old Leia. Give her the old
some little digital B. Arthur.
Okay.
Yeah. Digital B. Arthur. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
I really thought you were like, give her the old Leia, as in like when she dies outside of the ship and comes back to life and comes back in the ship. I'm just like, that's not how this works, Nick. That's not how this works.
Yeah, she's just like a grave. The hand pops up. The Force is strong with this one. Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, that's gonna wrap it up. Boys, anything closing? Anything for Marvel that you're looking forward to, not looking forward to, or last thoughts about the series we've seen so far?
Oh, I think that one of they have the Legend of the Ten Rings in terms of films, like Legend of the Ten Rings coming up and the Eternals coming up.
Mm-hmm.
I think those are going to be great ways to start incorporating like these multiversal existential threats.
Oh, sure.
Right. I think that it's hard to. I think this is the way you have to one up, but at some point you're going to have to stop one upping yourself in terms of cosmic threats.
Yeah.
Right.
It's true. I hope so. Right. There's only so much. Like at some point, it's just going to be them attacking the comic book artist, punching his fucking guys, breaks into his house. We gotta stop him for all sake of the multiverse.
Yeah.
Sleeping Jack Kirby. Yeah. Caleb, any final thoughts on this?
Yeah, like this. I don't know about this Legend of the Ten Rings. Like, I want less Ten Rings and more Hidden Temple. You know?
Jesus, that's all he wants.